All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Zoom.
Recording in progress. So last time on the curse of the
Cursed
baby
dinner.
head on Cloven's shoulder. You guys were doing some stuff, and to recap, we have Nate Kane.
Nice.
Do you remember what happened?
Yeah, let me pull up my notes real quick.
You took notes?
Yeah, because I'm sick and tired of taking shit. Let's see.
Notes instead of shit.
Where's your
I approve
camera,
this.
Sindra?
I think I got food poisoning, so I'm laying on my bed and
Are
I'm
you
gonna
in
be
the
camera
bathroom
off
right now?
today. I'm adjacent to the bathroom, but that's where I've been for the last hour. Whoop whoop.
Oh.
So I might be a little quiet, but I'm still here. Just
Oh.
working on.
Something smells so good. Smells like Indian food.
It does smell like Indian food.
Smells good.
Okay, so I have some notes. I don't think I have a full session's worth of notes, but
Okay.
we started in a room with the abbot. There was like a desk and a chair all smashed to pieces and stuff. Like, obviously, the place was not kept up well. And there's like a really nasty smelling hall with a bunch of cells. And then there was that super spooky abomination assemblage thing that the abbot basically explained was guarding the mongrel folk in the cells. He tried to demonstrate that they were perfectly happy being there by like opening up the cell door and inviting us to take a peek. They were pretending to cast, well, not pretending. They thought they were casting a spell to summon dinner. But they're being dumb. They weren't doing anything magical at all. Kane was able to assess that with a shitty roll.
Oh.
And then let's see. Esmeralda was actually pretty disgusted with the whole setup. The abbot obviously was starting to think that maybe we were getting ready to turn on him because he warned that any attempt to harm the mongrel folk would not be wise. The garden outside was standard fare. Looked like they were growing like basic vegetables. We went back past the golem and then continued up the stairs to the remnants of like a hospital room. It was pretty spooky in there. Sindra saw some ghosties, and then we kind of slightly split up after that. Josh went and stuck his face in the well and got attacked by something nasty.
We call her Rabbit Foot, or I'm sorry, Frog Foot. Rabbit Foot is somebody else.
She has a frog arm, actually.
Well, you know, when she's like scurrying across the floor, it's hard to identify what is what. What limb is limb?
Maybe back when we were talking real briefly with one of the mongrel folk who's like playing a harp or an organ. I can't remember what it was. I think it was a
A
harp.
viol.
Viola. There you go.
It was just a viol.
Viol.
Yeah.
He actually seemed legit. He was pretty good at it. And then we stopped not long after that.
Yeah, we're sitting down for dinner, I think.
We're sitting down for dinner. Yeah. And Cloven, who is the viol master, he is the part goat mongrel, and he's got the little cheruby baby head on his, sitting on his shoulder next to him. And the little cheruby baby head has some like scales on its head. And then you guys actually saw it, like its little forked snake tongue come out, and it hissed a little bit.
Tasting the air a little bit.
Yeah.
And it tasted the delicious smelling air. And if you guys remember, the stew smelled very fragrant and delicious that Cloven was about to serve you. So we resume with the party sitting down for their hearty stew dinner. And Cloven fills 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bowls with stew for the party. As well as serving a bowl of stew for the abbot and a bowl of stew for Basilka. He doesn't serve one for himself. As soon as he is done pouring the stews, he takes the rest of the pot up the stairs. The abbot gestures to you all. Please be seated.
And seated we are.
Zug can't help but notice that there is a portion of food that is going away.
That Cloven has taken the pot of stew.
Yeah, it's like, how I'm thinking to myself, how am I to get seconds if you're taking the food away?
Mm.
Yeah. To be fair, he did serve you a sizable bowl.
It doesn't
But-
matter. It doesn't matter if he gave me the whole pot. If he takes away like a small bowl, that's more that could be in my
There's
stomach.
more that
But
could be in your body and in your mouth.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So Zug is having an internal monologue where he is figuring out how he is going to get a second bowl of stew
Before I've started my first, yes.
before he has even started the first. You don't even know if it tastes good. Does smell good though.
Does it smell like curry?
No,
Chickpea curry.
it smells like
Nice.
it smells like definitely meaty, and it's got some herbs in it that you might have seen out in the garden. There's some herbs out there growing along with some vegetables. But yeah, just overall it smells really, really nice.
Well, I'm gonna dig in then.
Doug, you begin to dig in, and as you taste the stew, it somehow tastes even better than it looks. Or sorry,
Did
but
it
it
look
smells.
good?
No, it
Yeah,
doesn't
it does. It
particularly
looks
look
like
good.
slop.
It
So-
doesn't look that great, but it smells great and it tastes even better.
Does Kane have his vegetables?
You have your vegetable and meat stew because Cloven did offer to pick the meat out for you, but you said you could do it yourself.
Can I do an investigation check on the stew?
Yes. What are you investigating?
I want to discern if there's anything off-putting about this stew that I'm about to ingest.
Well, Kane just looks at his stew for 5 minutes.
Pretend I'm Josh looking for onions.
As Kane stares at his bowl of stew, the party hears the bell that is in the belfry begins to clatter back and forth. That is directly above you, and you hear
dinner bell.
in the distance the loud cackling and clamoring of the rest of the mongrel folk on the abbey premise. So you are beginning to stare at your stew. You are trying to figure out what is in it.
Is it human?
Are you
meat?
trying? Well, are you trying to identify the vegetables, the meat specifically? You're trying to identify what the meat could be. This meat, as you pull
This
a piece of meat out from the stew and squint at it and investigate it, this meat looks fairly lean, like not like cow meat. It's lean, it's kind of stringy, and it looks pretty tender. Salud.
Pardon moi. Merci.
It's a bit pinkish, so it's been cooked, but it's definitely like more of a medium rare.
Can I use prestidigitation to create a nice well cooked bowl of stew in front of me so that I can be certain that if there's any nasty shit in there, it is thoroughly roasted. Kane is not a
Yes,
trusting individual.
you
Yeah,
can
Nari.
warm up your soup and heat it up
I'm gonna like
to
levitate it and just
try to cook it a
roast
little
the
bit
shit
further
out
if
of it.
that is what you desire.
Mhm, mhm.
And as you are heating up your bowl of stew, Cloven begins to make his way back down the stairs, holding on to the bowl of stew, but there's nothing in the bowl anymore. Yeah.
Like the pot he took?
In the pot, yeah. He emptied it out.
Is the abbot eating?
Mm-hmm. The abbot is eating.
Zug's eating and he's fine.
And Zug's eating, and Zug is lapping it up.
It's
What
hard
is
to
it?
tell if I'm fine.
Esmeralda is doing what Kane is doing, examining it and like kind of a little bit hesitant.
What do you
And-
think, Ez?
Ez says, well, it smells quite good. And Ez turns to Cloven as he is walking down the stairs and out towards the courtyard. And she says, tell me, what is in this stew? She says, it smells delicious. And Cloven says, ah, well, thank you. What's in the stew? Well, you know, you've got your general garden vegetables. We've got some squash. There's some potatoes, some carrots. We've got some fresh peas in there too. We got a bit of rabbit. And there is also a secret special ingredient that gives it that little extra mwah.
Chef's kiss.
I'm allergic to special ingredients, as it happens to be. King sets his bowl down.
And Cloven leans forward and he says, oh, well, that's quite a shame.
Oh, don't worry, it won't go to waste. He hands it over to Zug.
Without looking, I grab the bowl,
Mm-hmm.
place it next to mine.
And if Zug is lapping up his stew,
Why do you keep saying why are you using the word laughing?
lapping up
I
his
do know how to use silverware.
enjoying his spoon with his silverware. Zug, roll a insight check.
Us?
Zug.
Oh. Give me a second. Phone call. Nope. Insight. Good old 15.
Ooh.
I know what's going on. I'm alert.
Zug, with a little extra care and sniffing. Zug, you taste wine.
Mm.
There's that special ingredient, buddy. It's your favorite
No.
thing.
Mhm.
I'm going to cease eating for a second, lift up my head, and pose a general question. Or not a question, but just a note. Do I detect hints of wine within the stew?
And Cloven points at you and he smiles and he says, "A very special ingredient indeed."
I raise my bowl and continue eating.
And Cloven makes his way out of the main hall and into the courtyard. And with that, Esmeralda, watching Zug, decides, what the hell? And she begins to eat her food. The abbot, who was already enjoying his stew, says to the party, "I shall have fresh linens brought to your chambers for the evening, should you care to stay. I do hope you all consider my offer."
He means of staying, or
He doesn't make it clear which offer he's talking about.
Ramiz will continue eating soup.
Soup.
Kane's an old man. He doesn't need that much food.
Aw. A few minutes into dinner, the abbot finishes his food very quickly, and he tells the party, "I do apologize, but I do have much work that I need to finish this evening. So I will excuse myself, and I shall see you all later." And he pushes out his chair and exits from the table and brings the Silco with him. And he heads off.
So who's at the table then?
Just you guys.
Oh,
It's
odd.
now just you.
Do we have any idea where everyone went?
You assume based off of hearing the bell ringing that Cloven, who's kind of the groundsman, has gone to perform some duties feeding. The abbot has not told you where he's going. He just says he has a lot of work to do.
Where did he exit?
He exited out into the courtyard.
Do we have any wine along with this meal, or is it just the stew?
You just have stew, but there is a wine cellar that you visited that is actually right. The staircase is right where you guys are in that room. There is a wine cellar.
I don't
Perhaps
know
we
of
should
it
go
yet.
partake in the facilities.
I'll stop eating for a second, look over at Kane and think, what facilities? You mean the toilet?
I'm
true,
afraid it's unlikely that one of those is present here, though I am referring to the wine cellar.
Wine cellar, you say? I am
Yes.
feeling a bit parched. I immediately get up from my chair. Lead the way, friend.
Let's go down to the wine cellar. Ramis, I've no doubt that you would like to join us in the wine cellar, no?
He didn't say we couldn't have wine.
That is true, he did not.
Sure, let's bring this party down to the cellar.
I like this idea. Let's bring the party down to the cellar. Zug, you should bring your stew.
Ramiz will just pour the last of the contents of his bowl down his throat and then head towards the wine cellar.
I'm just going to walk and drink at the same time.
So the stone steps that lead into the wine cellar descend 20 feet. And in the wine cellar, there are approximately 10 barrels of wine, and there's an L-shaped wooden rack packed with wine bottles. There are a few barrels that are in the center of the room, and the wine names are emblazoned on each of the barrels, and the winery's name, of course, is the Wizard of Wines. The barrels against the east wall, they say purple grape mash number 3. There are 4 barrels that are against the south wall that have a label that says Red Dragon Crush. The wine racks contain many bottles of purple grape mash and many bottles of Red Dragon Crush.
Ooh. I think Remise will head over to a Red Dragon Crush on the rack and just pop it open.
So Remise moves to the rack to pick up a bottle of Red Dragon Crush, and passive perception.
Oh no. 13?
You want that from all of us?
No, just Remise. I should just know your passive perception so I don't have to ask it. 'Cause if I
you
ask
have
it-
access to all of our sheets.
I know. I shouldn't have asked it. I should have just looked. I can. I'm on Kane's sheet right now. I can switch. Will I switch? There we go. Okay. There we go. Because if I ask it, then you guys know there's something to perceive.
Like why you
And then
just
when
have
you
to
fail-
ask it.
Remise
Added the
is
blue.
reaching for the bottle and then just pauses as if he's struck by some sort of
I sense a
Notion.
disturbance in the force.
And Remise picks up his bottle of Red Dragon Crush, and it's corked very tightly.
like more tightly than a normal bottle of wine is corked.
It seems like this has been here for a while.
Is there a date on the label of this Red Dragon Crush?
Mm-mm.
He'll do a cool little like spin of the bottle in his hands and just like start wedging the cork out with his dagger.
I won't make you roll any checks for that. You do it.
I've got like massive sleight of hand. I got massive performance.
You can open a bottle of wine without needing to perform.
Just make me roll for that.
Successful opening of the wine bottle. We can roll to see how much of the cork you get out without accidentally leaving some in or dropping some in the wine.
He will hold the wine high and look to his party mates. Where's Esmeralda? Does she follow us or she said?
She came with you. I think.
And say, to a night amongst the demons, and like take a big swig and then pass it over to Kane.
Indeed. Kane takes a swig,
Mm.
passes it over.
Remise will start singing a song as everyone passes the bottle of wine.
You're passing around the bottle of wine. The taste is refined, and it tastes significantly better than the purple grape mash that you're used to. Sing us your song.
How inspired are we about to be?
Was a fair lady. She worked at the vineyard.
Mm.
Sweat dripped from her brow as I turned to see the fair lady of the vineyard of wine. And then he just keeps singing that song over.
So we're uninspired, despired, so to speak.
Oh. Well, you've hurt Remise's feelings.
Oh,
Hmm.
Remise's lyrics were the problem, not the singing.
I thought that he was gonna like go. I thought the song was leading to like the fair lady of the vineyard being himself. I thought that's where it was going. But I'm glad that it didn't go there. That would have been too much. Alrighty. So
All right, we're not drunk. We're just having a good
Does
time.
Esmeralda like my song?
you don't know. She hasn't said anything. You could ask her if she likes your song. She looks
It's 13.
She doesn't appear to not like your song. She doesn't look disgruntled. Yeah.
Reese
Bernice,
mutters
I
under his
loved your
breath.
songs.
What's that?
I loved your song.
Yeah. Reese mutters under his breath. I used to charge audiences hundreds of gold for performances like this.
How the times have changed. You've gotten old, Remise.
We may just need more wine, that's all.
Okay, so you guys are gonna have some wine, drink the night away in the cellar.
Do we notice that is there like a layer of dust on the wine? On many of the wine bottles? Could they look like they've been touched at all? Has anyone been in this room?
Definitely, this room is used, but some of the wine on the rack has been sitting there for a while. But the room, there's not really a lot of dust, and it looks like the room is in use pretty frequently.
Okay. Just make sure they're not getting their wine from somewhere else.
Yes. So the Cloven appears coming down the stairs after a little bit of time has passed, and he looks surprised to see you guys here.
Cloven came down?
Reese will grab another bottle.
Cloven, join us.
Great mash. And say, this is what I needed in accompaniment. Cloven, bring your viol.
Yes. Join us, Cloven. Remise can serenade us along with your viol.
I have another song I would like to try out.
Cloven says, well,
Come, Cloven.
since you are all,
We hand him an open bottle of wine.
yes, sir. He grabs the open bottle of wine and he carries it up the stairs with him to go fetch his instrument.
Yes.
You all get the sense, even though you're all kind of drunk now, you all get the sense that he is trying to be nice.
That's good. We're trying to be nice
Wait,
too.
should I roll persuasion and see if I can overcome his attempt at politeness?
I mean, you can, yeah. I mean, he's
Roll on
not-
persuasion.
okay.
Come on, Remise. 27
27 to
Ooh.
persuade him to do what?
to like hang out with us. And
He's going to hang out.
but if I'm being persuasive, maybe he'll be stoked and not just being polite.
Yeah.
Okay, so Cloven reappears with his viol, and what does Rumi say to persuade Cloven to have a great time with his 27?
Oh, that was like the beginning when I asked him to join us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So join us was the persuasion.
Bring your viol, play, drink. I need an accompaniment, I believe is what I said. Like he would be, I assume he would be stoked to play alongside a bard.
Yeah, so when he first appeared, he seemed a little surprised to see you guys and was hesitant to join you, but was going to out of politeness. After Remise engages with him, he does look a little bit more excited, and he kind of skips off with his wine bottle to go and grab his viol.
We're making inroads.
There we go.
He grabs his viol and he brings it back down, which his viol is like almost the size of him. So it is no easy feat. And he brings it downstairs and he sits on top of a wine barrel and begins to string his viol before starting to play a beautiful harmonic.
Ramis will stop him
Yeah.
and just whisper in his ear for specific tuning. It's like we're going to play a song together.
Mm. He says, I don't usually have a partner.
Yes, well, I often have a backing band.
Well, then you
I
lead
like-
the way.
Pluck a few strings. I want to like exhibit my mastery of the viol to him, since he said he was self-taught.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he lets you touch his instrument.
So
well
charming.
done, Ramis.
I'm getting somewhere with this guy. Let me touch his viol. Give it a little pluck. Give it a little tighten here and there.
Little flick and a tug.
I hand it back to him. Follow along.
He says, I'll do my best.
Friends, this is a song I wrote just before we all met.
Mhm.
Cloven, are you ready?
Yep. He's drunk.
Oh,
Cloven's already drunk.
Oh, good. So he is ready. Tonight,
Kane whispers over to.
I arrive at the
Cloven's a
tavern.
lightweight.
I ride upon my horse to the tavern. Look up at the moon till 'tis 1:30. Oh, this night I am looking for fun. At the tavern, I look at Cloven. Is he nodding?
Yeah.
Is he playing along well?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
It's
Ramis
like
is-
actually really
Ramis
good.
is hard. Walk inside of the tavern. I walk over to Kane, and I like just get really close to him. He can smell the wine on my breath.
Kane summons a mage hand and starts like giving him a drum beat by knocking on a nearby wine barrel.
I look into Kane's eyes, lock eyes with a maid at the tavern.
Kane gives a kissy face
She
and a wink.
smiles and says 'tis 1:30. What is it that you would like to do at the tavern? I like dance over to Zug. To her I say, I give a point at Zug as if like to see if he knows the words.
No.
I dance over to Syndra. I want to drink. I want to get drunk. I want to get sunk at the tavern. And then he says, like, come along. I want to drink. Points at Kane. I want to get drunk.
As a
Points
skunk.
at Esmeralda. I want to get sunk. Does she sing?
Yes.
At the tavern. And then he continues along over and over again.
Wow.
Well done.
I want
well
to
done.
drink. I want.
Yeah. And Cloven is like nodding along. I want to get drunk. I want to get
At the
stunk.
tavern.
At the tavern, yes. Ramis starts conducting drunkenly. Yes. All right. He sits down.
There's a round of applause from the party.
I'm just clinking wine bottles together. I'm double fisting right now.
Ramis looks over to see if Syndra liked that one too.
I would have lit a match during the performance and I'm waving it around.
Dangerous with all the wine
This
that's
is
being
little
sloshed.
teeny
Yep.
matches he's holding between your
It's
fingers.
not gasoline.
Yep.
Yeah. That's all. Great. And even Esmeralda looks amused and happy. Mhm.
Figures.
She enjoyed it.
Figures. How does Cloven look?
Cloven looks out of his mind drunk.
I think Ramis will sit next to Cloven.
Go cuddle up with him. See
Yeah,
if you can get some info out of him.
exactly.
And he looks at you and he says, wow, I've not come into contact with any musical folk here. the mongrels, some of them sing and some of them dance, but it's all terrible. You were amazing.
Ramis reaches for his viol and is like, "Mayor."
And Cloven says, just be careful.
Ramis, treating it with the utmost care and respect, starts to play a tune softly as he turns back to Cloven and says, "How long did it take you to teach yourself this instrument?"
He says, probably about 5 years. There's time around here, so I've had plenty of time. How long did it take you to learn to play this instrument?
I've played many instruments since I could remember. Viol was one of my earliest.
He says, must be some kind of life to travel, to look the way that you look, to... He has a baby's head on his shoulder. To be seen and admired. And he begins to look rather melancholy.
Well, I admire what you have done all by yourself. I had teachers. I had much help to become what I am with this instrument.
He says, teachers, where were their teachers for music?
It was part of the profession I was born into. My peers were my teachers. And I could teach you a thing or two. Perhaps.
He says, that would be fine.
This is where Ryan's knowledge runs out and Ramis's is much, much deeper. Ramis would like to teach Cloven something about like a proper form of holding the instrument.
Yeah, so you attempt to teach him some proper form upon realizing that his proportions and measurement won't really support that.
Any proper technique he's just incapable of.
He's not incapable of, but most specifically proper form of holding the instrument, because it's a large instrument and he's really small. Normally, like a child would have a smaller sized instrument, and he is a child size, but with an adult sized instrument.
Okay, Ramis would have picked something that he thinks he could do.
Yeah, so you teach Cloven something about viol that you probably know, and he might not, being self-taught. And he masters it instantaneously.
You are a very fast study.
And he says, well, when I'm not tending to the things that are happening at the Abbey, this is what I enjoy doing most. Playing and drinking.
Can I have a meta commentary with the team real quick?
Here we are.
I'm buttering him up to like ask him some questions. What do we want to know? I feel like I'm trying to get to the bottom of like, and if any of them are like indentured servants to the abbot or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Like, are they actually happy here? Is he happy here? Is this abbot borderline bad news? Can we even trust Cloven? Cloven
what's going
seems
on with
legit.
those cells?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to know what the hell attacked me from that well.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay.
There's things to ask him. We just gotta butter him up. Keep buttering. Just spread it all over. Flick your tongue.
think Rumis would go back to the thread of like he said he had been learning for 5 years. So Rumis will say, "You've been studying Veal for 5 years, and how long have you been here at the Abbey?"
He says, I've been here my entire life.
And how many years is that?
Cloven says, well, I think I've lost count about now. Cloven looks maybe around like 35 to 40 years old.
It's hard to tell with
Very
baby
difficult to
on the
tell.
shoulder.
It's got a lot of different ages going on.
Based off of like his facial features alone, maybe like 35 to 40.
And you have been friends with the abbot for those years.
I don't think that friends is the right way to qualify that relationship.
How would you qualify it?
I am his servant.
You are his servant.
I am his servant.
And this is an arrangement that you are happy with.
He says, why would I not be happy with it?
Does he pay you well? Do you have what you need? I don't know. Servants are unhappy all the time.
He says, I have food, I have wine, and I have freedom. So yes, I am quite happy.
Are all of your brethren servants as well?
You mean the other mongrel folks?
Yes.
He says, no, I don't think that they are all happy. I think that some of them are doomed to the life they were born in, and I'm thankful that I am not one of those.
What life are they born in that you are so thankful not to be a part of?
He says, well, you've seen what's here. These are my cousins. These are my people. These are my kind. But some of us are higher functioning than others. And he says, some of the other mongrel folk, they accuse me of hoarding food, of hoarding wine, and they don't necessarily like me very much. So I am quite happy to be on my own, serving the abbot and keeping everything rolling here. And the tiny head on his shoulder, it's like begun to fall asleep.
Oh god. Got the baby so drunk it passed out.
That baby should not be drinking.
It's a lightweight.
And how do you feel about the other mongrel folk?
He says, I think that what they are, what we are, is a interesting but fitting way of living. And if it were up to me, I would let this end, but it is not, and the abbot has forbidden it.
Let life end? What do you mean?
He like swallows to try to like figure out what he's saying. He's like, most of them don't like me. They see me as the man who feeds them. And that's probably true. I don't really care what happens here. I have duties. I live my life. Doesn't matter one way or the other to me.
I want to drunkenly interject and just ask him, like, I was attacked by someone, something coming out of a well before dinner. Do you know anything about that?
He says, yeah, you're talking about Marzena. Marzena lives in the well.
The one with the frog arm lashes out unexpectedly, climbs really
He-
fast.
He doesn't take kindly to the comment that you make. He squints his eyes, and the baby head wakes up and looks at you and hisses.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! I mean, no
Don't
offense,
mention the
but
baby head shoulder, Zug.
I mean no offense, but I thought I would be safe within these walls.
He says, Marzena, she is unfortunately convinced that killing is the best way to live. So if she sees someone invading her territory, she will attack them.
There are no others like that here, I hope.
He says
Well,
there
tell me
are
well,
some. He says most of us are suffering from one affliction or another. It's getting really windy.
And you have all existed here for the same amount of time. Your relatives.
He says, I don't think that I need to explain to you how babies are made.
Kane just ever so slightly looks at the baby on his shoulder and tries to not pay chance to it.
Yeah, I don't think Ruiz knows how babies are made here, but
Made being the operative term there.
So yeah, okay, sure. Okay, so he doesn't care.
He's very uncomfortable with a lot of people paying attention to him. This is very abnormal for him. He's usually not even seen when he's playing his music. He hides up in that belfry and plays music from there.
What do you mean by you wish that this was over?
He says, I don't wish it was over. I just don't really care. It feels like a cycle.
Why don't you leave if you have your freedom?
He says, I can never leave here. And he says, you are not daft. I do not belong in the outside world, and I cannot go there. This is
Rovan, I promise you, there are far more terrifying, horrible things in the world than you.
He says, I have everything that I need here. I have food, I have shelter, I have wine, I have time to play my instrument and drink. This is where I was born, and this is ultimately where I will probably die.
Yet you commented on what you assume about my life and how adventure must be fun and must be nice, and you could have that.
Do you remember the comment about looking the way that you look
Sure, that is part of it, but Zug over here does not look the way I look.
Zug does just fine.
He looks up at Zug and he says, I don't imagine I would fare as well as you.
Hmm.
How do you know if you don't try?
You do not speak as though you are truly happy, though you say you are.
He says, and what is happiness?
Do you ever smile here, Cloven? Do you ever
I
laugh?
Smile
Never
all
sing.
the time when I'm drunk.
I would agree. We are similar in that respect.
Happiness,
a bottle.
Cloven, is being happy and smiling even when you are not drunk.
Wise words, Ramis.
Ramis like topples off of a barrel bowing,
Mm.
drunken.
And Cloven stands up, all 4'7" of him. And he says, well, I think that it is time that we retire for bed. I have an early morning of duties to attend to. And he says, thank you all for enjoying the music with me tonight. And he waves off at you all and begins to hobble up the stairs with his viol. And the cherub head does a half turn and looks back at you all menacingly.
Give the cherub head like a baby wave.
I give it the side eye.
And it
Does the baby head have a snake tongue?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Why?
oh,
Why does it have that?
Because it's cuter.
Because he doesn't have a nose, so he has to smell the air with his tongue.
it has a nose.
Ramis reaches at the bottles that we've been drinking out of, like seeing to see if any of them still have booze left.
I don't know how much you drank.
Okay.
Classic
Yeah,
party move
there's
right
booze
there.
left.
Ramis takes a swig, dusts himself off, says, well, that may have been a colossal waste of breath.
But we did drink a lot.
We did. It's been a while since we were able to enjoy wine freely, Ramis.
Indeed, indeed. Though this is not the most comfortable setting. I mean, the cellar's fine. I just mean the rest of it.
Agreed. Perhaps we can take a cursory glance throughout the building before we leave in the morning, see if there's anything of particular interest, and see the abbot and be on our way. Before we do, though, have we decided whether we wish to grant his request?
We don't have enough money to buy the scroll, so I guess we have to work with him.
If we are to acquire the dress, the only one I know of is at the burgomaster's mansion, whatever you want to call it. Either that, or perhaps we can see if we can find a tailor to craft something perhaps a little less gaudy.
Esmeralda, who is not as drunk as the rest of you, it appears, she says, I do remember seeing a dressmaker shop in Velaki. Perhaps we could just bypass the Baroness's gown altogether and get one made.
I like this idea much more, as the burgomaster is not my favorite fellow.
No.
And maybe it is best that we are not indebted to him.
Oh, and
I
I
agree.
was just going to steal it. Sure.
At least getting in there is quite difficult.
We keep managing our way in somehow.
I fear our luck may run out if we keep trying.
Simka-
Although this dressmaker sounds like an excellent idea, as perhaps if all of you agree, we can take our rest and leave tomorrow and let the abbot know that we will be on the lookout for such a dress, perhaps back in the future.
what will we do with the boy, the mad one who murdered his father?
We
The
cannot
abbot may-
allow him back to the town. We know it is not safe. The boy is not himself.
But do we allow him to stay with the abbot?
The alternative seems almost as cruel, does it not?
Depends on.
We either end his life, if you could call it that, or we turn him in to the abbot here, who claims he may be able to help him. Perhaps we can witness this help and use that as a litmus test. See if we can trust the abbot with other things. Maybe justify our quest to find this dress for him.
I'm gonna go with that idea.
Zug,
Yeah,
where is the
something-
boy?
He is in a bush about 20 feet that way.
20 feet? That's not very far, Zuck. Are you sure?
I'm next to a wall.
Could be. Zug, is he bound? By now he's probably crying bloody murder. We should go find
he's
him.
definitely bound and gagged.
Actually, let's leave him there for the night.
Okay.
I was joking, Zug.
Agreed so fast.
So I think we should stay the night or give the boy to the abbot. See what he does. Spend the night. If the kid is still crazy, then I mean he's only has to contend with the mongrels.
I agree with that. We should probably make sure he's still tied up in the bushes. Just to
He
be
may
safe.
be screaming. Yeah, he may be screaming. What say ye?
He wants to take a bottle of wine.
You want to take a bottle of wine?
What bottle of wine from where?
One of the red dragon crushes from the rack.
A good bargaining token for later.
Exactly.
You can grab a bottle of wine from the rack.
Yeah. Then Ramis will start heading up the stairs to enact the plan.
Yes.
I will also grab a bottle of wine.
I was just thinking about this. If we help the abbot with this thing and we get this scroll eventually, maybe we can enlist his assistance if he so agrees, given that he is the connoisseur of wine that he pretends to be at the very least. Maybe he could help us with his mongrel pals take out whatever's causing the problem on that Yester Hill.
What's going on at Yester Hill?
What do you mean? What's going on with Yester Hill? That's where the thing we're supposed to go to.
The druids?
like- Yeah, that.
Yeah, okay. I just didn't remember the name.
I think it's called Yester Hill, right? Danny warned us that it was a little above our pay grade, off the record at one
You guys are getting paid?
point.
It's called Yester Hill.
Okay, yeah, thought I was remembering that.
Um,
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna proceed upstairs. I'm gonna go fetch the boy.
Boy!
all right, so y'all head up the cellar stairs, and you said that you want to go find Ilya.
Yeah.
Okay. So Zug and the gang head out to where Zug left Ilya. And he is no longer there.
Called it.
Damn it.
I frantically check the bush, and I think there's like 2 other bushes nearby, and I start looking through them.
You look through the bushes and find no sign of anyone.
Did anybody come with me, or is it just me?
Yeah, it seems like everyone came with
We
you.
went.
Yeah.
No reason not to.
Frustrated,
Okay.
Ramis will say, "What has happened, Zug?" And start. Ramis would like to start looking for signs of any kind of
Yeah, can we do like a
anything.
perception, like any footprints, or because
Severed
I mean,
ropes.
Yeah. So as you guys examine the area, you see several sets of footsteps, 2 sets of footsteps that lead away from this particular bush.
Where do they lead?
yeah, can we follow them?
Towards the main road that goes to the courtyard.
Is anybody here? Oh, wait. Toward the courtyard?
Mhm.
Oh.
I
I
think
was
the
gonna
abbot
s-
picked them up.
We should go see the abbot.
Yeah.
Both pairs of footprints. One pair of footprints is smaller than average. And the second pair of footprints is kind of hoof shaped.
Hoof shaped.
Like a cloven hoof?
Yeah.
Huh?
Cloven actually doesn't have hooves. Cloven actually has a bear paw
Ah.
as one of his feet.
He was just trying to be a rebel with his name.
Well, like he was trying to be
Better
a
than baby
distraction.
snakehead.
I'll juke him with my name. They'll never see me coming.
Can we follow as far as we can into the courtyard?
Yeah, so the footprints lead into the courtyard, which turns to cobbles.
Oh. Oh man.
You're filling up water, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And as you make your way to the courtyard, you see the patrol team of Otto and Zyfrek walking by.
Ramis looks at their legs and feet.
Immediately looking at their feet. So Otto has kind of like donkey-ish feet, wolfy donkey-ish feet. They're like paws. And
More wolf then, so they're not hoofed.
no, they're not hooved. And Zyfrek's feet are covered by her cloak. But if you watch her walk and look at the dust in the road, it is hooven.
Both of them?
Zagfrek, did you find Ilya, the small child, the boy?
She looks to you and she says, "Yes, I found the boy.
Where have you taken him?
I took him to the abbot. He seemed out of sorts."
Mhm. Thank you, Zagfrek. Do you know where the abbot is?
She says, "No. He is inside."
Let's go take a look. A wild cheddar has appeared.
You found a wild cheddar.
We got to see cheddar again sometime soon.
Yeah, you guys gonna come up here?
Are you ready? Missing cat vibes, Nate?
I haven't seen cheddar for like a year. More than that. The last time I saw Cheddar was when I helped Danny move.
That was a year ago, yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go find the
Oh.
abbot.
Yeah, we're gonna go find the abbot.
Okay.
Let him know. We'll go search out this dress.
So you guys head back in to look around for the abbot.
I assume he's in some sort of study.
The study?
Yeah, he said he had to retire. He had work to do, right?
Assume he's in the abbot room.
The abbot room.
We're going to the abbot room.
What was the? Oh, Ilya.
The abbot room.
Yeah, the room with the abbot in it.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't any
I
room
remember the
that
layout.
he's in the abbot room?
Hmm?
Isn't any room that he's in the abbot room?
No. You actually do not recall seeing any quarters for him anywhere that you visited.
There was that creepy hospital room that had some beds in it that seemed pretty fucking creepy, but you could probably sleep in there.
Yeah, so you don't know where he is right now, but you can definitely go explore the abbey to find him. Granted, it is sunset and the sun is setting, it's getting dark.
Wait, I thought this was.
Go find him.
Okay, so it's the same night we had the singing, dancing party with Cloven in the basement. We just
Literally
decided.
right after, yeah.
Okay, for some reason I thought we waited overnight, but that makes way more
No,
sense.
no.
You guys want to explore the haunted house at night?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So where do you guys want to go?
Dining hall.
In the dining hall?
Yeah. Where's the entrance room?
Entrance room?
Yeah, we went into a room when we first came in, and you described some stuff, and I can't remember what it was, but we didn't have a chance to like look through it because the abbot took us straight through into another place.
It's the dining room, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's the big Morning Lord Sun symbol that's above the heart.
Oh,
of the
yeah,
dining
yeah,
room.
that's right. I wanted to check that out because didn't Zug find something in the graveyard that
On a tombstone.
yeah, sounded similar? Yeah, we should look at that.
The tombstone or the other thing?
No, the thing inside the dining room. It has the sun sigil. Kind of sounds like a similar thing. There's a sun sigil on a gravestone that you saw.
Mm,
Yeah.
And there's a sun sigil thing in the dining room, right?
oh,
So the grave that he found was carved with roses, and it had a 3-inch or so diameter sun-shaped indentation on its east side, and there was an engraving beneath the indentation that said Petronova.
Yeah. Should go check out that thing in the dining room. Maybe there's a sun-shaped key hidden somewhere.
let's go.
Maybe Sindra can help us look because we're apparently all bad at finding stuff.
Perceiving things.
Yeah, so you guys enter back into like the main hall, like the dining area with the big table. And yeah, the fireplace mantle has a golden disc that is engraved with the symbol of the sun.
Do I notice anything different about it? Is it just like hanging on a hook or something?
Yeah, it's just hanging there on the wall, attached to the wall.
Can I take it
And-
down?
You can take it down, yeah.
Okay. Let me take it down. I want to see what this thing is all about.
So you go up to the sun disk and take it off the wall, and there is a niche in the wall.
Oh shit, Kane.
What is the niche?
What's in
Mace will
the-
be in the middle of saying, Kane, we don't have time for this. And be-
What is this?
It's a small.
My eyes aren't so good for me. Is this perhaps some kind of niche?
There's a small niche in the wall, and you see a crystal, a crystal-looking flask, and it is filled with liquid.
Ez, perhaps you could come over here and help me identify this. It's quite interesting. Kane takes the contents of the niche out and puts the otherwise indescript thing back on the wall, I guess.
The
The thing that
disc.
was hiding the niche. Yeah, the disc.
Yeah, and Ez walks up and she looks at the flask filled with liquid, and she says, the potion in the flask has a she like she picks it up and she like shakes it a little bit, she agitates it, and it becomes a deep red and it glimmers.
Does
Thank
Kane
you.
have any knowledge of what that would be?
Yeah, this is definitely a potion of healing.
Potion of healing. Quite handy. Probably going to need that sometime soon with all of the spooky ghosts and monsters these woods seem to be filled with.
It's for your stomach ache after the stew.
And,
that seems like a waste, Rabbies, but yes.
And Ez is able to identify and says, this is a rare potion of healing. It is a superior potion.
Superior. How many health points is a superior potion?
I can
Kane
send you,
shouldn't ask as that.
you can mark down
Yeah, let me
Kane,
pull it up.
superior potion of healing. And she says, I do not know that it matters how much this potion heals, because in this land, this potion is worth much more than its healing value.
Good call, Les. Yes, of course. We are quite strapped for coin at the moment, especially with the rather large purchases we've been faced with needing to make.
And she hands the potion off to you, turning towards the disc. And she examines the disc and she puts her finger up to it and she taps on it and she knocks on it. And she looks at Kane and she says, this might be solid gold.
Kane couldn't tell when he picked that up that was solid gold. God, he's a
It's-
dumbass.
It's not necessarily obvious that it's solid gold because it has sort of been
Solid gold is heavy.
it depends on the grade of the gold, but yes. And it was heavy when you picked it up. I didn't mention that. It was heavy. I mean, it's a huge disc.
Good catch, as apparently my eyes and general perception and intelligence aren't what they should be today.
You can examine the disc.
How much does the disc weigh?
Probably like 25 pounds.
25 pounds of solid gold sounds like it would be worth quite a bit, as. Kane looks over at Syndra. Syndra, you don't by chance happen to know what the weight of a gold coin is, do you?
Let's see if I can figure it out.
I looked it up. A gold coin weighs 0.02 pounds.
We got a lot of gold coins in there.
Yeah, 25 divided by 0.02. That is 1,250 gold coins worth of gold. That is quite impressive. We've nearly doubled our counts here by this find.
Assuming you're gonna steal it.
Oh, yeah.
Seems
We're gonna steal it.
perhaps we can use it to acquire a dress for the abbot. I don't believe he would fare too much loss in the return of a dress for his purposes of creepily stalking Strahd.
He
Wait,
may
is the-
notice that there's missing, but
Let's leave him a note that says, "Gone to fetch dress, needed gold. K, thanks." Scrawls it on a piece of parchment.
As you all
Licks
are
it and sticks it
discussing
in the alcove.
what to do with your newfound stolen treasures.
Gee, that would freak out.
She's running around like a crazy kitty. The abbot descends the stairs.
Oh, here we go. Can't get away with the shit here.
He knows everything.
Well,
He has the ears of a wolf.
we're about to
Nose of
find
a
out
bat.
how this goes.
And he eyes the party. And he says, "Well, I did say you could explore the grounds."
Yes, they are quite lovely grounds, I must say. Don't worry, we stayed away from the appendage contraption you have guarding the mongrel folks' quarters.
Exploring the walls too.
Yes, yes.
He walks over to the table and he stands there expectantly.
We considered your request for the dress, Abbot. Oh, I must ask, our friend Ilya outside where we stashed him, he seems to have been recovered by somebody with hooven feet.
He says, "Yes, Zytrick found him and brought him to me, and I have cured him, and he is resting upstairs."
Perhaps we can pay him a visit before we leave.
"You very well can. I am planning on keeping him here overnight in the hospital, and then he can return to his family in the morning."
In the hospital
Are you-
with the shades.
He says, "The shades do not bother anyone so long as they are not bothered."
Are you
Yeah,
quite
young
sure?
boy.
Are you quite sure that the boy's family will be safe from potential repercussions of his resurrection?
He says, "Yes, he has been fully restored.
Very
You
well.
may examine him yourself if you wish."
We may bid him adieu before we leave. Yes, that sounds like a good plan. And to give you a bit of a heads up, we have a couple leads on where we may be able to find a dress for, what was her name?
Basilka.
Basilka, yes, of course. We hope to be back before too long.
He says, "I am quite pleased to hear this. I would go myself, but I cannot leave the abbot for very long for various reasons. Mostly, don't want to leave my what word would he use here? I would not care to leave
Your entourage,
my family here unattended for long."
of course, yes, and the woods are no place for a lone traveler either, I must say. Fear not, we will go on this escapade and find a suitable dress. I trust we have the exact measurements we will need for Basilka, yes?
He hands you a small piece of parchment with them already written.
Excellent. You have come prepared, I see. All right. Kane tucks it away. He actually looks at it first, tries to memorize it, and then tucks it away. I trust we can see Ilya, yes?
He nods.
What say you, Ramis, Sidra, Zug? Do you care to see Ilya before we set out?
I think that'd be a good
Mm,
idea.
Zug, would you like to go fight in the well again, perhaps, instead? Kane winks.
No. No.
Excellent.
The abbot is blocking your path from the table to the stairs and looking at.
Ramesh starts walking the other way around the table.
He's looking at the valuables.
Yes, well, dresses aren't free, Abbot, you must understand. We need something to exchange in order to acquire this dress.
The better the dress, the better the reception that would be had.
Indeed, indeed. And I know Basilka must have only the best for Strahd, no?
He
Persuasion. Persuasion.
he says, consider this an investment, and you shall receive your scroll when you return with the dress. And he reaches into his robe and he pulls out a small pouch and he hands it to you.
Well, Kane takes the pouch. What does it feel like is inside the pouch? Like a bunch of gold?
Guano.
Tracking charm?
Yep.
What am I holding here?
It's a closed pouch. It jingles
give it a
the
quick
way
toss.
that coins would.
How heavy does it feel?
A pound.
Okay.
And he grabs the sun disk and mounts it back up onto the wall. And
Wait, he grabs it?
he picks it up off the table.
Did we set it on the table? I thought we were carrying it.
I don't know. Did you put it back on? Did Ez put it back on?
No.
Oh, we were like, this is worth a shitload of money. We're taking this with us.
No, we're taking it with us.
He puts it back up onto the wall.
Well, noted.
Does he grab it violently from Kane's hands?
No. So you guys head up the stairs, which is where Ilya is resting at the moment in the loft. And Ilya is there and he looks pretty winded and exhausted, but he is awake.
How are you this fine evening, Ilya? Or is it morning? I can't remember.
It's evening still.
evening. Yeah.
We just had dinner.
Come on, Kane.
It's been a long night, okay?
He clutches his forehead and he says, I don't know.
Do you remember anything about the past day or week?
Do you
This is-
remember me?
Exactly.
He says, yes, I do. I remember you all.
Do you remember your father?
He begins to sob. And he looks down at the ground. And he says, what have I done?
You have done much, Ilya. I
He
would
says-
not sugarcoat this.
He says, I was dead, and now I am here. And he says, this is too much to bear. And he continues to sob.
Doesn't he have another, like his mom is still alive or something?
Yeah.
Anna,
Oh, no, yeah. Ilya, I can't imagine what you must be feeling right now. Though I can tell you that your mother needs you now more than ever.
he doesn't respond at all to what you've said, and he just continues to sob.
Are burgomasters, do they work in lineage, like bloodlines? Like the son is going to be the next burgomaster.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. I think Ramis will say, you are now the burgomaster. You must return home. This is not your guilt alone to bear. The abbot is the one who brought you back.
He's still fairly unresponsive and is trying to take in a massive amount of information at one time as a 14-year-old kid. And he says, I want to see my mother. He looks up at you all with desperation.
Ilya, I believe that can be arranged. We will be
Ramis-
leaving here through town shortly.
Yeah, Ramis detected his madness in the first place. Like, is Ramis satisfied? Does he think anything has changed?
It's kind of difficult to tell because he's in an extremely heightened emotional state, but you are not able to detect anything besides like just grief.
Okay. I guess Ramis will just turn to the party and say, I mean, there's no need for us to stay here the night. And he looks at Ez.
We have much that we need to do. We cannot be the police of everything in this land. We must bring him to his mother. Perhaps we have a chat with her. Ramis, if you think he's sane at this point, I have no reason to doubt it.
Mm.
Ez walks up to the boy and she says, come, let us put you to bed. We will escort you back to your mother's house in the morning. And she turns over her shoulder and she says, let us all rest. And she begins to like walk with the boy over to the hospital wing.
Fine. We will sleep here after all then.
Ez brings him into the hospital bedroom and sits him down on the nearest bed, and he curls up into like the fetal position. He falls asleep immediately.
Jeez.
You think it's safe to sleep in the same room as this kid?
Yeah, where were our linens being drawn up?
Yeah.
in that extra bedroom that had the bunk beds.
Dope.
So you guys head over there, and there are some fresh sheets, even though the beds are a little old and smelly. But the sheets are fresh, so if you put the sheet down over the bed, it'll probably be okay. And as ducks down into one of the lower cots and puts a sheet on top of the bed, and she says to the group, "That boy is going to be fucked up forever."
No.
I silently nod.
You tried dying and being resurrected and not being fucked up.
She says, "It is not his fault. And now his father is gone and he lives with the guilt." She says, "I don't care that the abbot treated him. The abbot caused this in the first place." She says, "Let's go get that damn dress and get the fuck out of here."
Agreed.
She is very
Upset.
distraught by the events that have happened. Why is your website all glowy and pridey? Mine's not.
Turn on party mode.
Oh, can I do that?
Yeah.
Where is it?
I'll show you after.
Okay, sorry. Just got excited.
So it's like just super late. Is that why?
It is late, yeah.
So Ramesh will just make himself at home on a bunk bed.
So
I'll
y'all
take a
grab
top
your
bunk.
bunks and go to sleep. All right. Bedtime for the gang.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who are light sleepers, you hear lots of noises throughout the night. Cackles, a few howls, some banging. And you wake up to a beautiful sunny morning. Just kidding. It's full of mist and it's foggy as hell.
We're in San Francisco?
You're in San Francisco. So you all get up and it's a new day. And no one has died.
Hey.
That
Wow.
is in your room, at least.
Well, that's a start.
It is a start. You wake up and Esmeralda is already gone.
Mm.
She's an early riser.
Or is Ilya there?
Or she died.
That's true. Maybe she died, just not in this room.
She's
That'd be
not in her
tricky.
bed as the rest of you wake up.
Well, we go look for her.
Yeah, I guess Ramesh would go. Like, how close aren't we? Like next door to Ilya?
Yeah, you're very close.
Ramesh will go to Ilya's room.
So you head over to the hospital room, and Ilya is there. And Esmeralda is sitting next to him on the bed, having a conversation with him.
Ramesh doesn't. Okay. Ramesh is like listening. He doesn't think she's like the best like adult for kids to be around, probably.
And Ramesh is.
Better than her. Fucking psychopath with a peg leg.
Jeez. And he's looking a little bit better than last night, but still not great.
Should we take you to your mother, Ilya?
He says, "I guess."
Is he like, would he rather stay in the castle, or is that, what is the exasperation in his voice?
He is feeling horrified to face his mother. He killed her husband.
Was not
Um,
all him.
What do you say? Right?
I said it wasn't all him.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, then let us be off. We can go. We have nothing more to do here this morning.
So y'all grab your belongings and head out for the morning. Heading out the courtyard, you see pretty much the same thing as when you came in. Mishka is still chained up to his post. And there's still lots of fog in the courtyard. And as you exit, you see Cloven near one of the horses' troughs. And he is attending to some duties, filling up some water. And as you leave the main path, you see Otto and Zygfrek, who are sitting guard at the front gate, as they normally do. And they watch as you leave. And Otto says, "Goodbye for now."
Yes, goodbye. Trying to be polite. But also not creep
Zygfrek
out.
says nothing as she clutches her cloak and eyes you all suspiciously as you leave. And y'all head down the hill, down the windy hill. Takes you about 15 minutes to get down to the main area, where you are now at the Shrine of the Rising Sun, which has been depleted a little bit. The gazebo is still tarnished. And as you make your way through the town road, you see every once in a while a villager who is tending to their home garden or their livestock. And they look more melancholy than usual. And after about 10 minutes of walking down the main road or so, you arrive at Ilya's cottage. And Ilya thanks you and says, "I hope that you are all successful in your mission. I'm really sorry that it came to this. I'm going to go talk to my mother now, and please know that as the burgomaster that I am now, you are welcome inside the village of Kresk when you return."
That is kind of you.
Thanks, kid.
Well, best of luck, Ilya. We will no doubt see you again soon.
Ilya nods and walks over to his cottage, and he knocks on the door. And as continues forward, shaking her head, and you guys leave this village and head out to the main road, presumably heading in the direction of Vallaki.
Yeah.
Okay.
Going to the tailor's,
Yeah. Wait, did we find Ez?
She's with us.
Okay, cool. I must have missed that part.
So as you get onto the main road, Valaki, as you remember, is probably close to like 7 or 8 miles away. So definitely you can make it in a day. It'll just take you probably at least half the day, if not more. And you guys are walking down the main road. There's kind of forest on either side. So here's Kruzk, Valaki. So the main road is going to be this one that then dips down here, or you can go north and it's kind of dirt path, but the paved path is probably going to be faster. And you're walking for about 20-25 minutes, maybe a mile or so in, a mile and a half. And who has the highest path perception? I think it's Syndra. I mean, it's Ez, but
I have 17.
okay.
Damn.
It's still Ez, but I'm gonna give it to Syndra here
Yes.
because otherwise Ez is gonna notice everything. And Syndra finds something interesting on the ground. It looks like a pot of ink.
What?
An ink pot?
Yeah, from where you're standing. Like you notice what looks like a little pot of ink just on the road.
Okay. Can I investigate it, see if there are any tracks near it, or I don't know. Is there anything, do I notice anything besides that pot of ink that's unusual there?
Nothing around it. Not really. There's no
Okay.
like pen or anything. It's just a little, what looks like a little bottle of ink.
Does it have like any little bottle label on it or anything? Is it just a pot of ink on the ground?
From where you're standing, it looks like a pot of ink on the ground.
Okay. I'm gonna pick it up and be like, check this out, guys. Found a little pot of ink.
You
What have you got there, Syndra?
That's not wine.
pick it up, and
Probably not.
upon examination, it certainly does appear to be an inkwell.
Notice any? Can I spend some time in examining it and casting detect magic as a ritual to see if I can determine anything about it?
Yeah, so as you stare at the inkwell, you become a little nauseous.
Oh,
More so than usual.
Yes.
It's not just Kane's normal morning aches.
And so does Syndra. Syndra also staring at the inkwell becomes a little bit nauseous.
the heck?
But
I
you
don't want
do
to
not
be left
detect
out. I'll
any
stare at it.
magic. Zug also wants to stare at the inkwell.
Let's all get high by staring at the inkwell.
You're not gonna get high, you're just getting nauseous.
Wait. Has Zug just had bachelor chow? Because if he has, I don't want him looking at this. Bachelor chow looks the same coming out as it does going down.
Mm.
And as you all stare at this little inkwell, you all begin to feel just a little bit nauseous.
Does the nausea intensify if we look at it harder?
No,
Does it have a smell?
smells like ink.
Well,
Nausea-inducing ink.
have we opened the inkwell at this point?
If you want to
Zug-
open the
Zug might have,
inkwell,
it
if
sounds
you
like.
wanted to smell it, you can open it.
I didn't determine that there's anything magical about it.
There's nothing magical.
All right, open it up. Probably,
Probably a spirit. Let's
Probably
go,
yeah.
bust.
ink genie.
maybe it's a genie, a djinn,
Mm.
Mm,
an ink genie.
open and smell the ink. It smells quite inky.
I'm gonna take my quill and a bit of parchment and try to write out I don't know, like one of the spells in my spell book.
I'm a stinky boy.
That's the spell.
that's how you cast prestidigitation.
You dip your quill into the pot of ink, and it is a functioning inkwell.
Yeah, it appears to be ink. Surprise.
I guess Ramesh is just marveling at this whole thing unfolding and be like, may we continue the journey?
I suppose we have no reason not to. Let's put a cork in this, so to speak.
He hands it back to
high-five
Sindri.
I have an inkling Ramis wants to continue.
Oh boy.
Oh my god. I would like to tuck the ink away. I'm gonna keep
Syndra
it.
pockets the creepy inkwell along with her other toys,
Yep.
Of course.
and you all
Part
continue.
of my stash.
Another weird trinket for Syndra.
You betcha.
It's just on her keychain of curse charms.
Horror. Continuing on for some time longer, you make it another couple of miles into your journey, and at some point, walking along the path between the two forests, you notice Esmeralda stands up a little bit straighter and sharper. She begins to look around.
It's that passive perception at work over there.
Mm.
She's
And
like
she
a
says-
deer in the forest.
And she says to the party, "We are no longer alone."
Oh, yes, please don't tell me it's werewolves again. I am quite sick of werewolves.
Could be worse.
And
Could it now, Zug? Could it be worse than werewolves?
Could be a mad wizard. Just saying.
That's true. We don't have the scroll for that yet.
she turns to a large tree to the north side, and she pulls her rapier out. And she says, "Show yourself."
I'm gonna draw my weapon as well, if she's gonna draw it.
Yeah.
Weapons are drawn.
From behind the tree emerges a wild-looking figure caked in gray mud and clutching a crude stone axe. Whether it is a man or a woman, you can't tell.
The choice of weapons is rather odd.
It begins to approach the party steadily and slowly.
I'm gonna position myself between this thing and our party.
Who goes there? We don't need to go to violence, but we will defend ourselves if forced to.
The figure begins to approach you, and it is almost as tall as Zug. It's quite large.
Is it muscular?
A bit, yes.
Damn.
Okay.
It's mudskiller.
It's mud.
Nice.
It's the kind of muscular that looks like it has spent its life doing
fighting
fighting
to survive.
activities. Yeah,
Alright.
survival.
Ramesh will yell at it.
Yeah.
Say something, you mud swine.
Mudswan.
It approaches closer.
I think Ramesh is gonna attack it. It's just walking at us with an axe, right? Can we just fucking attack it?
It hasn't
You can.
responded yet.
It does continue
We
to
give
walk
you
towards it.
one final warning.
Ramesh is like,
It stops about 20 feet away from you,
oh, so it was like far away.
maybe like 15 feet away from you. It gets close-ish.
Am I closer?
I mean,
How far is he away from me? Because I'm should be the closest one too.
15 away from you.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, like 15 feet maybe.
Okay.
And it speaks to you. And it says, my brethren have you surrounded. I think it would be wise for you to put down your weapons. We don't want your lives, just the weapons.
There's no way.
And with that, we'll end it here and let you guys make a decision about what you want to do next time.
We're fighting. We're fighting. What do you mean decision? We're
Yeah, there's
fighting.
no decision.
We're not gonna
made.
give them our weapons. We look like
Yeah, we're gonna fucking
bunch of pushovers.
fuck
Like a
this
bunch of
muddy
mud
piece of shit up.
I mean, it sounds like, based off of the voice that you heard, it sounds like a deep voiced woman. And
Jane Lynch is here.
and she's told you that her brethren have you surrounded. So
Ez didn't detect anyone around us.
Just the one. Oh no, Ez didn't say that there was only one. Ez said we are not alone.
She just found
No.
the closest one, probably.
But I'm gonna wait for her to say she's full of shit or she's totally.
Yeah.
so
We'll
y'all are gonna
talk it out.
totally rely on Ez's
Well,
assessment of the
We'd
situation.
rely on who has the highest perception rolls, and it turns
Ez
out
is-
Ez does.
Literally better at it than we are.
All right. Well, we will see what happens next time.